everyone, and thank you for coming. This first slide that I have up, I'm just going to take a moment before we start to read the vision that our district strives toward, to give us some context for what we're hoping to accomplish and some of the realities that we're certainly coping with. Amphitheater schools and facilities are places where students thrive academically, places parents want their children to attend, places where highly skilled people work, and places community members respect because of the high student achievement, caring environment, and focus on individual needs. And certainly reviewing the mission and beliefs and values that we and our governing board have that hopefully lead us to that mission, or to that vision and accomplishment of that mission. So for this evening, in terms of budget reduction considerations, as you know, as Lisa spoke about earlier, now that the actual budgets are approved at the state level, we have to deal with the following realities in terms of budget cuts. And these are the realities, assuming Proposition 100, the sales tax approval, is passed by the voters on May 18th. So, if Proposition 100 passes, required budget cuts are detailed below. As you see in the first line, the only increase that we're receiving is related to our transportation funding, a 1.2% increase, that's an inflation factor, and that is a $65,000 increase. In terms of the budget cuts, a soft capital reduction of 80%. As Scott mentioned, soft capital are those funds that can be used for computers, textbooks, athletic equipment, furniture, and things specific for students in the classroom. And that's a $2,686,862 amount. And I'm sure most of us are aware that the next item is the elimination of full-day kindergarten. That's a budget decrease of $2,638,158. And you see below that the subtotal of $5,260,020. The bullet below that subtotal is a very important one in that it is not part of the legislative budget balancing process. As those of you who are staff members in the room know, Proposition 301 was passed by the voters of Arizona in November of 2001, I believe. And that proposition focused monies that went specifically to the classroom site fund for teachers' salaries. And our projection, we've had 2 years of declining revenue related to these two funds. Our projection from the state for next year is that we will have a shortfall of, as you see, $1,934,000 that is specific to teacher-based pay, current teacher-based pay. So that leaves us with a total of guaranteed required cuts for this next calendar fiscal year of $7,194,020. I think it's important also to point out, as you see on the line next to the total, that this amount is excluding those building renewal non-funding of our maintenance of our buildings that Scott spoke of, and it's also excluding the cuts of many of our grants. Examples being early childhood program, preschool, compensatory education that supports summer school, etc. So that's excluding those amounts, and the total, including this projected 301 shortfall, is the $7.2 million. So I'm going to go forward to discuss specific reduction components that our governing board has been reviewing in order to create a balanced budget, which certainly we have to do to begin our next fiscal year, our school year 10-11. As Scott mentioned, this last 2 years, we've been focusing as much as possible our budget reduction and our cuts away from the schools and classrooms in particular. Last year we had over $500,000 in cuts to the district central administration. So as you see, when we look to identify further eliminations or budget cuts at the district level, we're at the point of eliminating our executive director of human resources. Those of you who are in the room who might have private business or business certainly with employees related to the 2,000 some employees we have, I think can appreciate the magnitude and the importance of the employment department, if you will, in a business, or in this case in the school district. We have a print media specialist and a lead computer tech repair with an estimation of that cut totaling $178,000. In the bullet below, you see that we're looking to reorganize our facilities support by eliminating 3 positions, outsourcing some services, and I think the staff in the room can identify with one of the most consistent suggestions that I've received over the last few weeks related to looking at budget cuts is specific to energy and efficiencies that could be accomplished at school and department level. So with the elimination of those 3 FTE, we're going to be repurposing one of those positions to have a person coordinating those efforts so that we can develop a district plan that can allow us to recapture some through efficiency some of those dollars. The next bullet you see is Prince Amphi Middle School, a combination of creating a K-8 school and providing administrative support related to that. That allowed us to reduce 1 administrative position with an estimated savings of $50,000. I've had folks ask why we haven't done this with our other middle school and elementary that are adjacent to one another. And the reason is that Amphi Middle and Prince, we have additional federal funding in terms of administrative support that allow us to have an assistant, an instructional support assistant in each of those buildings with 1 principal supervising both buildings. At Cross and Harrelson, we have currently a principal, and an assistant in 1 building. So if we were to eliminate a principal, we would not have someone guaranteed in that building to assume the administrative safety, frankly, function specifically. As you see in the bullet below, we're looking to close our San Joaquin Alternative High School facility and return our students to their respective high schools with an alternative high school component at each of our high schools. By doing that, we estimate $435,000 savings. The bullet below, transportation efficiencies. This requires combining routes, reducing routes, and as many of us, I think, understand,